The TLDR version of the Window Licker's guide on how to run dungeons is the tank needs to be the center of attention so other roles can get in with what they do best. The healer needs to keep the tank alive so the baddie's attention is less likely to wander. In the DPS, batter the baddie whilst not being stupid. But I think you all deserve a way better explanation. Oh, okay, so what did we... okay, roll it. Welcome back, everyone. Before we start, I just want to quickly say to all the people who show their support and appreciation by becoming members of my channel, thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. You are all first-class window lickers. And if anybody else wants or is considering becoming a member too, then just click the join button next to the sub button. Also make sure to like my videos. I know most of you forget, but it does help the video gain traction with the algorithm, which lets even more people discover my videos. So hit the like button now to avoid forgetting it later. And the Almighty also wants to say a few words.
Jesus. Hello, window lickers. Mortals. It's me, your favorite almighty Lord and Savior Jesus, and Galactic Underwear's YouTube channel is the answer to your prayers. I myself abandoned the Tower of the Mad Mage to come down here to give you this heavenly message. I am the most reputable person, ever. So subscribe to Galactic and like all his videos. He's out of this world. Follow Galactic and he'll shine a light on your path to salvation. Jesus.
Now back to our Window Licker's guide to dungeon runs, which wasn't even my idea, to be honest. It was an idea from one of my commenters and possibly subscribers to my channel, Elemental Gaming. I say possibly because I don't want to assume he is or she is, but if he or she isn't...
But if you don't, I will look for you. I will find you. And I will...
And nobody wants to be hunted down by Liam Neeson. Nobody. But I did think the comment and idea you see on your screen deserved a video, so here we are. And thank you for your comment. It was a brilliant video idea. Basic team tactics. Much of the adventuring aspect of Neverwinter is completely playable as a party of one, but can be more fun when played with others. In fact, in most cases, playing with others is preferred because most people get tired of wandering the Forgotten Realms alone. Way more fun meeting people and running content in groups because it can really get lonely out there. Neverwinter is an MMO after all, and MMOs are built for socializing. Skirmishes, dungeons, trials, and dragon hunts require a team, even if some of them can be soloed by more experienced players who like to challenge themselves and flash their tiny huge penis in everyone's faces. Whether you quest, queue with buddies, guildies, or random strangers, having some basic team tactics as your foundation will make it more fun and a better experience for everyone. The goal in groups who run content is not how to piss off the next person next to you, but how to work together to achieve a common goal. The most common complaints are the DPS runs ahead of the tank, or I died because the healer wasn't healing me, or maybe even the tank is losing aggro. Where to start? Giving the tank a chance to establish aggro is absolutely the best way to start. The tank's job is to try to keep the bad guy's attention focused on them so the healer and DPS can do their thing with as little interruption as possible. It's not that simple, of course. There are a lot of factors that contribute or throw a monkey wrench in the works, but more on those further in the video. As a general principle, the healer's priority should be to keep themselves alive so they can keep healing, and then keep the tank alive so they can keep a tight grip on the aggro, and then lastly, of course, keep the DPS alive. And it's exactly in that order. Yeah, you heard me correctly. Their first concern should be to keep themselves alive. As shocking as that might seem to some of you, just like you can't DPS if you're dead, you also can't heal if your body is 6 feet under being eaten by worm maggots. There are things that players can do to help though. Learn to read the threat meter. The threat meter is a small bar by the name of each party member. It shows who among the party is the biggest threat to your target by showing blank if there's no threat, going through to green, yellow, amber, and red if the threat is at its highest. Keeping an eye on the threat bar needs some getting used to, but one thing that can help is rearranging your UI so the threat bar is positioned where you can see it easier. I myself have positioned it right above my power bar. My eyes naturally go there, so it's much easier for me. But for you, the placing can be completely different depending on what's more convenient for you. Tanks will always aim to be the biggest threat in the fight, but if a DPS or even a healer spikes their output, it can put them at the top of the aggro list. The tank, of course, will always aim to reacquire the top spot as soon as they can, but it can take a few seconds, particularly if the DPS who has acquired it keeps adding more damage to their count. As a DPS, if your bar goes full yellow, it can slide through amber into red very fast. So to avoid going red and getting the baddies full attention and the damage that comes with it, you can slow or pause your attacks or stick to at-wills till you go green. But they most likely won't.
Because they're fucking addicted.
If you get the aggro. Moving behind the tank if you have the aggro will help them get the aggro back, but move away again quickly, as standing next to the tank puts you in the firing line for any more damage hurled at the tank that you don't have the stats or abilities to soak in or absorb. I mean, you could definitely take the hit, you'll just need to be resurrected afterwards, which isn't what you really want. A good way to do this is to run through the tank and out the other side. Unless you're Dragonborn and can't run through anything, period. Then you can reposition to give yourself and any other party members combat advantage while you're at it. If you are the person who has the aggro and someone dies next to you, kite the bad guys away so that the player can be resurrected without immediately dying again. A common thing that most DPS players do, including myself sometimes, is once you steal aggro, your first instinct is to run away. That just makes it harder for the tank to grab aggro back since he has to chase after the boss who is in turn chasing you. Here. Let me show you an example that involves me and Mini-Me when we two-manned the Vault of Stars. Observe.
Oh god. No, don't kill me. It's okay. Now you're gonna turn around and run.
It's after me. I am running.
I think I'm trying to come over here. motherfucker, dude. This guy. This gotta be the funniest shit I've seen in my life.
He did, and I'm recording it too. He didn't get me.
This shit is crazy. He's chasing you around a map, bro. Like, what the fuck? Too funny. Oh, he's gonna chase you again, dude. I'm done for You should be able to do it.
That was too funny. I was running. He couldn't catch me. Did you see it?
I know, bro. You still have so much stamina left. That was great.
Yeah, that was me running away and the tank running after the boss to take the aggro back. Yeah, sure, the boss kept missing me because I'm a freaking machine and awesome, but you know, it's not the way it's supposed to be done. I mean, Mini-Me was literally running after me like crazy before he finally got the aggro back. But I personally think that video was hilarious, so you should go watch it. It's in somewhere in my videos. Help the healer keep you alive. Be aware of your surroundings and the position of your teammates. This will also help you to maintain combat advantage yourself, and try not to run ahead of the tank. Most DPSs overestimate their skill and survivability, and they just end up embarrassed after being brutalized by a red cap. And you going in solo doesn't really impress anyone but your own ego and your tiny little penis. And just to be fair, and so you don't think I'm out here acting cool or that I'm better than any of you, I do it too sometimes. Here's a video of me actually doing it. I do it especially when I'm whisker farming. Yeah, sure, I rarely ever die, but it still doesn't justify going ahead of the tank, even if you can survive it. As a tank, where possible, turn the bad guys so their attacks are aimed away from the party, hiding if necessary to a place that gives the DPS clear ground to fight from. Avoid standing in the red zones that indicate where an attack will land or in areas of persistent effects so you don't take unnecessary damage. I've noticed some tanks are way too focused on not dying and keeping the aggro that they are unaware of what's going on around them. A good tank also keeps an eye on his teammates and moves the boss to safer areas. A good example is in the first boss in the Vault of Stars. I can't tell you how many times I've had to stand on painful mushrooms to attack because the tank wouldn't move the boss away from them. Good tanks don't just tank. If one of your teammates goes down and you are the closest, resurrect them. But if the healer has to stop healing the tank to resurrect the DPS, especially if they have to travel to do it, that can make a party wipe. It is not the healer's job to resurrect the dead, and the perception that it is their job is a figment of your imagination. Just because they are supports does not mean they support your stupidity, and it is very hard to heal stupid. Trust me, many have tried. And I know it's hard to wrap your heads around this, but I'm going to go out on the limb and state the obvious. It's a DPSer's job to resurrect the dead. Yes, even if that means you lose damage and someone else surpasses you on the damage board. Being a team player is way more valued than a selfish one. I know, it's really shocking, but welcome to the real world.
Welcome to the desert of the real.
Be aware of the position of the healer. If you move out of range of their heals, it's not their responsibility to reposition, especially if it means they can't maintain focus on the tank. Their top goal, as mentioned earlier, is to keep the tank alive, which in turn keeps the whole group alive. So stay close as possible, and whatever heals the healer can spare, you might just get a dose or two. Also be aware of what class of healer that they are. Some have powers that can't heal you directly, but instead form a healing AoE on the ground. If you don't stay or go into it, that's not their fault. And of course, if they come under attack, help defend them, and if they should fall, resurrect them. Those are basically the basics and most important factor when it comes to dungeons, trials, and skirmishes. Follow the main points of this guide and you'll do great and make tons of friends while doing it. And here's a quick recap. Let the tank establish aggro before attacking. The tank's job is to keep the bad guys away from you by maintaining aggro and repositioning the baddies so you can attack them safely. The threat meter will show you who has the most aggro. Stop attacking until the tank regains control. It is your responsibility to be aware of the threat meter, and if you steal aggro, run towards the tank and not away from the tank so he can regain control faster. Don't run ahead of the tank, especially in more difficult content. Let the tank do its job. Don't stand in red circles or damage over time affected areas. If you are in them, move out of them as quickly as possible. Standing inside of them only makes the healer's job more frustrating. It's the DPS's job to resurrect the fallen, even if that means losing out on damage. The healer's job is to keep herself or himself alive first, then keep the tank alive, and keeping the DPSers alive is secondary. Those are the basics and the guide to dungeon running. There's a lot of you out there that's probably going to see this video and not even follow through with it anyways. But this is available. If there's any guild leaders out there or Discord managers or people that are having this issue with members of their guilds or their alliance, really share this video. Who knows? If 10% of the people that do this listen, it's a win. Anyways, Galactic here. Peace out. Stay safe.
Neverwinter used to be good, now it's trash. Mini me and Rob together, we Hulk smash.
Mini me and Rob together, we Hulk smash. Neverwinter used to be good, now it's trash.